Hello, my name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And my name is James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James.
And tonight I am going to talk about how do you deal with discouragement now or anytime. So, of course, it's about the coronavirus, but it's not just about the coronavirus. But before I get into that very juicy topic, I'm going to ask Sweet Baby James to introduce our program.
Yes, welcome to Granny Rocks, where we have the opportunity to experience Granny's wit and wisdom and uncommon sense every Monday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. So thanks for joining us. And without further ado, here's Granny.
I am happy to say that Facebook says we are broadcasting live. Now, let me see if I can find the comments. Nothing is ever easy. Okay. So, but I can deal with the discouragement.
Now, let me see if I can find the comments.
All right.
Nothing is ever easy. Okay.
James, let me do that. Thank you. Okay. So I should have shut off the speaker, but I didn't. So there you go. Okay. So, we already have some comments from people who said, oh my God, that was so tacky having that sound. So Tracy said hi.
Hi, Tracy.
Love and rainbows. Elizabeth said hello and smiled. Yes.
Hi, Lizzie.
And Todd said, yes, you are live. And Todd said, hi there, and hi there, Todd. And
Hi.
Yasin says, hello.
Hello, Yasin.
Yes, and sent us flowers and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I love it. I feel good already. We are on our way to a great show. So I want to say first that discouragement can come through many ways. And I have what I call the antidote to discouragement. Now, what is an antidote? Let's say you've gotten poisoned and after you get poisoned, you get an antidote. That means it kind of counteracts the poison.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what an antidote is. And so there is an antidote to discouragement. I'm going to talk about that. But in the meantime, Rosalind said, oh my God, what a perfect topic for today.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And these days.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. So, discouragement can come through people's words, or it can come through experience. You know, you say, you want to do something, but somebody says, it's impossible, or at least you can't do it. Right? Now, is it true that it is impossible? Or is it true that you can't do it? You know, maybe it is. Let's say there is no 2-minute mile yet. I don't know.
No, there is not a 2-minute mile.
There is not a 2-minute mile.
It took years and years to get to a 4-minute mile.
Right, so maybe there isn't any, and you know, it's not humanly possible. Or maybe you can't do it because you're only 4'2" and you have short legs. You know, like that would be me. I'm not 4'2", but I am like 5 foot and I have short legs. But anyway, so the thing is, if somebody says to you, this is impossible, you can't do this, that could be very discouraging. Now, is it true? Sometimes it is, and we need to look at that very carefully. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes they are projecting their own experience or worldview on you. Or maybe they've had experience that makes them feel like it's impossible, and they don't mean any harm, but there it is. So how do you distinguish between them telling you that this is really not a good idea, this is them discouraging you, and when you should say, yeah, but maybe, you know, I'm going to talk about that, right? Now, beyond the issue of somebody saying something discouraging, which we all had, I think almost all of us had as children, like, oh no, you can't do that, or you can't do that, or you can't do that, you can't do that. Most people have had that, right? But sometimes you have experiences that discourage you. You just discover that no matter what you try, you just can't do it. That can be very discouraging. That can be maybe even more discouraging than when somebody tells you you can't do it. Well, again, is it true? Or is it that you can't do it the way you are trying to do it? I bet you're waiting for the antidote. Well, I'm going to come to the antidote, so have a little patience, right? So what's the answer? The drum is rolling. Drums rolling.
The answer is?
The antidote to disappointment is enlightenment.
Sounds like a high bar.
Well, doesn't that sound like some guru said that?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I learned that a lot of years ago. I was maybe in the 1980s or 70s or something, that the antidote to discouragement is enlightenment. So what does that mean? So that means that if you're feeling discouraged, you need to become enlightened. You need to understand something, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand. For example, if somebody is telling you that something is impossible, it would really be a good idea if you tried to learn something about why that person is suggesting you can't do it, and that maybe you can learn something about that other person who's telling you can't do it. Maybe they've had an experience where they couldn't do it, or maybe they've seen thousands of other people who couldn't do it. So that's where they are coming from, and you get to learn about that. You get to understand, well, you know, they have that experience, and that's what they're being helpful. They're trying to tell you that this is not going to work, and they're, you know, it's in the goodness of their heart. So you get to learn something about them. Now, if it is actually true that you can't do something, or that, you know, it would be almost virtually impossible, then you may need to learn something about what it is that you are trying to do. Maybe there's something you haven't thought of. For example, if you're trying to get somewhere in 2 minutes, maybe you should take a car. Right? Maybe it's the way you're doing it. Or maybe you need to get into your electric wheelchair. Biz, biz, biz. Right? And you can get there in 2 minutes. You just got to move a lot faster. You know, maybe there is a way, right? So you need to learn. So this is the enlightenment part. You need to learn something about how to do it that you hadn't thought of. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing about experience. It's not just what somebody says to you. Do you need to try something different? It's all about learning. It's all about enlightenment. Is there a way to try to do this that you haven't tried or other people haven't tried? You know, it's about the learning. And maybe the answer is no, or maybe the answer is not now. Maybe you don't have a car. Maybe you're in the 18th century and there's no cars, right? Or you say, oh, I want to fly. Can I fly? Well, maybe you can't fly because there's no planes.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you really can't fly? No, that means you really can't fly now. So if you get discouraged, then you might not consider what options you have, because it's like, that's it, it's over, you cannot do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a really good idea to look deeply into things and try to understand why you feel discouraged. Is it because of something that someone said? Are they right? Is it their experience? Is it their pain? Is it just true? Or is there something that you can do? Now, if you're feeling discouraged, but you don't want to be discouraged, should you try and try again? What do you think, James?
Well, like you said, try to think of another way to proceed. Try to think of other resources that you hadn't thought of before. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, well, then odds are you're going to have the same result over and over.
That is so true. So should you try or try again and try to figure it out and spend your energy and your time and your money trying to figure it out? Well, that depends on how you would feel about yourself if you try and fail again. Or how you would feel about yourself if somebody warned you and said, you can't do this, and you feel a little discouraged, but no, you've got to try again and again. You might feel really, really stupid. Or you might feel like now not only are you discouraged about the thing itself, but you're discouraged about yourself. Like, oh, I'm not thinking straight. Amy says, I do tend to think in black or white. Either I can or I can't do something without looking for other possibilities or other perspectives. By the way, lots of love to you both. Thank you. And she sent lots of
Love
hearts.
to you too, Amy.
That's a very good point. So here we go. Now we have more enlightenment coming. How would you feel about yourself and try and fail? Versus how would you feel about yourself if you didn't try again? Or if you didn't try at all? Right?
Yeah.
More enlightenment, more self-awareness. Can you afford to fail materially or emotionally? That's a really important question. Can you afford to fail? Can you afford to not try? How would you feel about yourself, see, if you didn't try? So, what we're discovering is, as usual, there are no simple answers. What do you do when you're discouraged? Become more enlightened. Look at yourself. Look at other people. Look at the problem. Delve into it. Be aware that this might not be the right time or the right place or any of those things.
Or even the right thing.
Or even the right thing. So, look within. Have some enlightenment. Now, there's another aspect to this enlightenment. Why do you want to do it to start with? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to puff yourself up? Is that a good reason to keep trying something even after reality has discouraged you? Even after people have kind of forewarned you that this is not a good idea? Oh yeah, I've got a girlfriend. Of course she has dumped every other guy, but see, she's going to be different with me. I don't want to be discouraged, right? Because I'm trying to puff myself up and prove that I am somebody. Am I trying to do this and prove something to please someone? I don't want to disappoint them, so I need to please them. Is that a good reason to knock your head against the wall? Are you trying to do something because you have already failed at it, and now you have to prove that you can do it despite all obstacles? So I suggest that you really choose enlightenment. Learn more about yourself. Learn more about the people who are trying to advise you. Learn more about whether or not you can tolerate another failure. Can you reframe that failure as a learning experience, as a form of enlightenment? And if you can, or if you can't, then make your decision. Make your decision not based on whether you really think you're going to succeed, but on the inside of how you would feel if you didn't try, or how would you feel if you tried again and you thought you were just a jerk for having tried it again and again and again. So, what do you think, guys? So here's what I would like to say. But before I end with what I want to say about this topic, Sweet Baby James, do you have something to share about this?
Well, yeah, looking over my past history, I can recall certain situations where I fell on my face, but then I worked hard to overcome that, to learn from the mistakes that I made, and then I wound up being really good at that and being able to not fall on my face, but to do really well.
Yeah.
And then I can remember when I was practicing law that I was trying to be a solo practitioner, and I kept coming up against lawyers who were with law firms. And they had all these resources. And I only had me and a paralegal who was also a secretary. And why did I keep beating my head against the wall and keep getting overmatched? And so...
Undoubtedly because you were trying to prove something.
I was trying to prove something. I figured, hey, I was pretty smart. I should be able to do this. But I wasn't in the wrong... I wasn't in the right field. And I wasn't doing it right. If I wanted to be in that field, I needed to do it the way attorneys generally do it, who are the most successful, which is typically with a law firm with a lot of resources. So I learned basically that I didn't have that much of an aptitude for it. I was just trying to prove I could do it. So I finally let it go. But it took a while. But yeah, the enlightenment part was seeing that that was not the right fit for me, and I wasn't going to be as successful as I thought I was going to be, and let it go and do things that I do better and I have a better knack for. So,
well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do, guys, is we want to tell people about all the free things that we offer on the internet. We do Granny Rocks twice a week at 6:30 Pacific time. We do Dreams of Peace on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, where I play the piano. And boy, is that an example of something where I was discouraged. You know, I tried to play the piano over and over. I stopped playing when I was 15. And no matter how many times I tried, I couldn't play without getting more crippled, and I just couldn't develop a technique, and I just couldn't play. And all of a sudden, at the age of 73, I got this inner guidance that I needed to buy a piano and do it differently, that I needed to improvise. And wow, lo and behold, I'm playing the piano for the world, and people like it, and it's good music, and I'm shocked. But I had to do it completely differently. Yeah. So if I had just stayed with the discouragement and didn't really welcome the opportunity to learn something about myself and about the piano, I would still not be playing the piano. So anyway, that's our third. And then every Thursday at noon Pacific time, we are offering a wonderful service, which is a video conference that you can join for free. This is all free. And all you have to do is read the post that goes along with this video, and you click on it and you register, and you can register for all the classes, or you can register for the ones you want to come to. And we are just really supporting people to feel better, to feel stronger, to feel their strength. And it's a great program. So we have 4 free programs on the internet.
Every week.
Every week. So I don't want to be discouraged about our difficulty getting the word out. In fact, I have a job for you. You guys could spread the word about Granny Rocks, this spoken video, about Dreams of Peace, about our program about the coronavirus. I don't know if I explained that.
The one on Thursday at noon.
The one on Thursday at noon is called Spread Peace Around the Coronavirus, and we give people a sense of themselves and their calm and their strength, and it's a wonderful program. So those are 4 programs that we are offering free. That is our part. Now, can you tell people about it? Can you share it? Can you spread the word? That would make a huge difference. So I'm asking you to do that. Now, I have asked you to spread the word before. Am I going to say, well, very few people spread the word, so I'm not going to do it again? No, I am going to do it again. And Judy said, it's sort of whether you are a risk taker or not. And whether you take risks of possibly failing depends on the circumstances. Easier to take risks because you have a safety net under you, and that doesn't always happen. That is so true, Judy. But also, let me remind you, is what is the price of not taking that risk? Can you afford to take the risk? What is the price of not taking that risk? So, just because you haven't been a risk taker in the past doesn't mean you can't do it now. Right?
It's never too late.
It's never too late. So, the antidote for discouragement is enlightenment, is looking at yourself, learning more about yourself, learning more about others, and learning about what it is that you are wanting to do. So that's what I have to say today, and I hope that you share this program, that you like it, that you love it, that you comment after the show. If you comment, I will respond. I always do respond. I really appreciate the support, and I love the love that we're getting. People say, stay safe, and we love you, and we love you too. And I hope that you have gained some perspective on this, that discouragement is a feeling that comes and goes. And you can look at that discouragement and reinterpret it as an opportunity to learn something about yourself or others. And that is never a loss. Amy says, I learned essentially the same thing, that I wasn't cut out to play classical music. Instead, when I discovered improvising on the harp and creating my own arrangements of pieces, it was so much fun. I no longer had to deal with the stress of memorizing someone else's music. A perfect example of switch gears. So you may be getting discouragement. I would call it, instead of a block, it's like, oh, I'm being blocked, I can't do this. I call it a directional signal. It means that you need to make a change in your direction, either away from the thing altogether or to do it in a special way. Judy said, I'm digging your hair. The wilder it gets. Lots of laugh. It is getting pretty wild here. One of these days I may get a haircut, or I may just keep letting it grow because my hair grows up. Right? So, thank you, Judy. Thank you all. We love you. Come back again soon and spread the word. Spread the word. Tell your local radio station. Tell your local TV station. Tell your local newspaper that we are available 4 times a week and that we are out to help people. And we do. So I think with that, I should say bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.
We love you.
Take care of yourself.
And thanks for all the good wishes. Bye-bye.